Imagine waking up in total darkness, no light, no air, no escape. Your hands are bound, your screams swallowed by the earth itself. And worse, you've already been declared dead.
This is not fiction. This is the real-life nightmare that unfolded when Kate McCann was abducted and buried alive in a wooden box beneath the soil, left with only a plastic straw for air. What was meant to be her grave became her battleground for survival.
Kate had vanished. Official reports claimed she was missing, later presumed dead. But beneath the surface, literally, a woman was clawing her way back from the edge of death, her fingernails shredding wood, time, and hope.
How do you imagine surviving when every second is a fight for your life? When the air grows thinner and the silence becomes louder than your heartbeat?
This story is more than just an escape. It's about grit. It's about the unbreakable force of human resilience. And it's about one woman who refused to die in the dark.
Today on Curell Case Files, we dig into a story that's as unbelievable as it is inspiring. We'll examine the mind of a captor, the cruelty of confinement, and the raw will to live that turned a coffin into a tunnel of salvation.
From the moment she vanished to the shocking rescue 27 hours later, you'll discover how every minute tested the limits of human endurance.
If survival stories move you, if tales of unimaginable strength fascinate you, this is one you won't forget.
This is Curell Case Files, and this is the story of Kate McCann, buried alive but never broken.
Before the nightmare began, Kate McCann led a quiet life in suburban New Hampshire. A single mother of one, she worked late shifts at a hospital and jogged early mornings to clear her mind. She was disciplined, dependable, and unsuspecting of what was coming.
Her abductor, Ronald Wexler, was no drifter. A former construction worker with a violent past and a twisted fascination with survival scenarios, Wexler had watched Kate from a distance for months. In his journal, later recovered, he wrote of wanting to test the limits of the human body.
On an early October morning, Kate left for her jog. It was barely light outside. She took her usual trail along the tree-lined stretch behind Sycamore Park. But Wexler was waiting. Armed with chloroform, gloves, and a meticulously built wooden box hidden deep in a clearing, he made his move.
In less than 60 seconds, Kate McCann disappeared from the surface of the earth.
To cover his tracks, Wexler planted evidence of a river drowning. Clothes by the bank, a smeared footprint. Within hours, the police declared her presumed drowned. It would be days before they realized she had never left the forest.
Meanwhile, beneath the dense brush and leaves, Kate awoke inside a coffin-sized box. Her wrists were tied. The air was stale. The only thing keeping her alive was a narrow straw poking through the soil, a cruel design by Wexler to prolong her suffering while he arranged his ransom.
She screamed, she begged, she kicked, but nothing, only the suffocating weight of soil above her and silence.
What followed was 27 hours of unimaginable torment. The box, only 6 feet long and 2 feet wide, left no room to stretch. The air grew hotter by the hour. She could feel the insects crawling, hear her own pulse, and smell the raw pine of her wooden tomb.
But Kate wasn't ready to die.
Using the only tool she had, her fingernails, she began to scrape, first at the joints, then at the edges. She didn't know where the weakest point was, but she kept digging, inch by inch, splinter by splinter.
Her fingers bled, her throat burned, her lungs begged for more oxygen, but she clawed through it all, her will to live, unmatched.
She had no watch, no light, just time and pain. But after what felt like days, she heard something, footsteps, muffled, faint, close.
With her final strength, she screamed through the straw again and again, faint cries in the wind. By chance, perhaps fate, a pair of hikers from Vermont heard something odd. Not a bird, not the wind, a voice.
They paused, listened, then followed the sound until they noticed disturbed soil and a thin black tube protruding.
Panicked, they dug with bare hands. Minutes later, they uncovered the box's lid. The moment they pulled it open, Kate was gasping, eyes wide, drenched in sweat, but alive.
Rescue workers later called it a miracle. She had survived what experts described as a 3% chance of survival. Her core temperature had dropped. Her oxygen saturation was near critical, but she survived.
As Kate recovered in the hospital, authorities launched a manhunt for Wexler. He was found 2 states away, holed up in a cabin, preparing a ransom letter to send to her family, despite her being declared dead.
His trial would reveal journals filled with disturbing thoughts, sketches of burial methods, and a chilling entry dated the day of her abduction. Tonight she becomes part of the Earth.
But Kate defied him, and in doing so she rewrote what survival means.
Experts compared her case to the 1987 escape of Colleen Stan and even historical prisoner of war accounts, but few matched the brutality of being buried alive.
Psychologists called it a textbook case of post-traumatic growth. She didn't just survive, she transformed.
Today, Kate speaks at women's self-defense seminars. She tells her story, not for sympathy, but for strength. Her fingernails grew back. Her spirit never cracked.
Ronald Vexler was sentenced to life without parole. The judge called his act the closest thing to pure evil I've seen in 40 years.
But Kate, she became a symbol that even in the most suffocating of circumstances, hope can still breathe.
Kate McCann's story is one of brutal realism and miraculous resilience. From abduction to entombment to escape, she proved that when all seems lost, survival is still possible.
Her journey reminds us of the horrifying lengths some will go to inflict control and the incredible depths from which victims can rise.
She was declared dead, but lived. She was buried, but fought her way out. She was forgotten, but made sure the world remembered her name.
Let this case stand as a warning and an inspiration. Evil may bury you, but it can't bury your will to live.
Here at Curell Case Files, we uncover not just the darkness of humanity, but the light that breaks through it.
If stories like this move you, if you believe in strength through survival, then join our community of curious minds and relentless truth seekers.
Hit that subscribe button and never miss another dropping escape, chilling case, or crime that defies belief.
Because here, the unbelievable is always true, and the truth is always waiting to be uncovered.
This is Curell Case Files. Subscribe now before the next case disappears without a trace.